He was still screaming when they peeled the face from his skull. The sound didn't stop, only shifted, muffling into the damp rock walls of the cave, echoing like some monstrous chant that refused to die. Blood soaked the ground, thick as tar, congealing where bare feet had danced moments before in a circle of firelight. 12 figures stood around him, cloaked in fur and ash, silent as the ancient stone that swallowed their cries. They didn't blink. They didn't flinch. They watched as the elder carved the cheekbones clean, humming an unbroken melody that hadn't changed in 40 millennia. Why would anyone wear the face of a man they knew? Why did the jawbone need to be broken from the inside? Why did they bury the mask, but not the body? The archaeologists didn't know what they'd found at first. Just a cracked fragment, thin as eggshell, but with human molars still embedded like fossils in polished ivory. There was a hole, deliberate, ritualistic, punched through the forehead. Later, when they unearthed the rest of the cavern chamber, they realized the fragments formed a complete human skull, hollowed, reshaped, and polished from within. A mask, and not just any mask. This one had been worn. You could see the inside smoothed by sweat and friction. Grooves where someone had strapped it tight to their own face. And then there was a smell, preserved in the clay-cold air for tens of thousands of years. Not death, exactly, but something older, something that never fully died. They cataloged it as Proto-Mask 1, carbon dated it to around 38,800 years ago, but it didn't fit any culture, not even the Gravettians, who were known for ritual burials. This wasn't burial. This was something else. 2 days after the discovery, one of the interns quit without explanation. She'd been translating the engraved symbols found beside the mask, burdened to bone with a heated stone shard. Her notes, left behind in a spiral notebook, read, "It's not just a face. It's a vessel." They didn't want to preserve the person. They wanted to trap something inside. The team joked at first, called it the world's first haunted object, but no one touched it without gloves. And the lead researcher, Dr. Emmerich, insisted it be kept sealed in a vacuum container lined with obsidian powder. He claimed it would preserve the organic matter. But it wasn't just that. He'd seen something in the cave he wouldn't speak about. He stopped sleeping, started whispering to the glass box at night. The cave itself was older than anyone expected. Hidden beneath the collapsed limestone ridge in northern Croatia, it was reachable only through a tunnel network that narrowed to a crawl. Inside the walls were marked with handprints, dozens of them, pressed in charcoal, always in groups of 3, always the same shape, as if one hand had been pressed again and again through centuries by different people. Each print was smudged at the fingertips. Inside the mass chamber, there were no handprints, just one massive red spiral etched into floor. And bones, hundreds of them, small bones. Children mostly, teeth arranged in neat rings, femurs stacked like firewood. Why were no adult skulls found near the mask? Why were the pelvic bones shattered post-mortem? Why did the torchlight always flicker when someone spoke the elder's name? Dr. Emmerich eventually translated the symbols fully. They weren't words. They were instructions. Carve the vessel while the breath still trembles. Heat the stone. Burn the spiral into the skin. Speak not the true name, only the name of silence. Only the mask may lie to the thing inside. There are stories, whispers pass through archaeological circles, about a lost sect of Paleolithic shamans who believe in a god beneath the stone, not above, not in the sky, but below, buried in the womb of the earth. They didn't pray for salvation. They fed it. They believed suffering left a mark in the bone. That's why the face had to be carved while the victim was still alive. The pain needed to be sealed in, like an echo trapped in a jar. The mask then became a vessel of memory, of horror, of something older than language. You could feel it when you stared into the mask's hollow eyes. Not sadness, not rage, something waiting. One night, Dr. Emmerich locked himself in a lab and put the mask on. They found him 8 hours later, curled in the fetal position, murmuring in an extinct tongue. His pupils were fully dilated, his fingernails torn from scratching at his own face. He wouldn't stop crying, not from fear, but from awe. He said he saw a field of eyes beneath the earth, that they opened one by one, each blink echoing with the memory of a death, that the mask didn't show you who wore it, it showed you who it had consumed. One of the carved bone fragments, previously believed to be decorative, was later identified as a flute, except it didn't play normal notes. When blown through, it produced a droning, low-frequency hum that made several researchers nauseous. Audio analysis revealed subharmonic patterns that didn't match any known acoustic structure. It sounded like breathing, or worse, mimicking breath. A test was run to replicate the mask using synthetic bone material. It failed. The shape wouldn't hold. It cracked under carving, as if only real bone, real pain could bind it. Why did they make children witness the ritual? Why did the elder wear the mask during birth rites? Why was the same spiral carved into the roof of a newborn's mouth? The deeper they dug into the site, the worse it got. One chamber, previously sealed by a rockfall, was finally opened. Inside, they found a circle of stone surrounding a skeleton bound in rope, made from sinew. Its skull had been removed, replaced with a large predator's jaw, inverted and tied into place with braided hair. There were no carvings in this room, no tools, just a single inscription etched into the ceiling. The first mask was not worn by man. Science couldn't explain the level of preservation, or why none of the remains bore signs of scavenging, despite open exposure. Local folklore offered one theory, an old legend about the Nocnari or night shapers, who could walk between faces, wearing memory like flesh. They were said to live beneath the caves, surfacing only when the spiral was broken. Dr. Emmer began to draw spirals in his sleep. He spoke less and less, ate only raw meat. Eventually, he left the university without a word, disappearing into forests near the excavation site. He was last seen entering a narrow cave mouth barefoot, carrying nothing but a handmade mask carved from wood. It had no eyes. 2 weeks later, hikers reported a strange chanting echoing through the rocks at night. Then the team found a second mask. This one was smaller, child-sized, but carved with the same methods. Blood was still inside the nasal cavity. When tested, the DNA didn't match any known human lineage. Not ancient, not modern, unknown. The symbols around it translated roughly to, "The second gate opens with blood unspoken." No one knows what that means, or what the first gate ever was. But the spiral had changed. On the floor of the main chamber, the original red spiral had always curled clockwise. Perfect, even. But days after Dr. Emmerich's disappearance, it reversed, curling inward counterclockwise, as if whatever it represented had begun to turn back. The intern who quit, her name was Laura. We found her in a hospital last year. Nonverbal, but she draws. Over and over again, the same thing, a face with no skin, a mask with weeping eyes, and behind it, always a field of spirals, hundreds, spinning. Inside one of her drawings, barely visible, scrawled in the spiral lines, were 4 words. "It wears us all." They closed the cave now, not publicly. Officially, the project was paused due to funding. But the real reason sits sealed in a chamber with no name. The mask is still inside. So is something else. And last month, a new cave system was found just 30 kilometers north. It matches the geological structure of the original. And inside, archaeologists discovered another spiral. This one carved in charcoal. Still fresh. There were no bones. Just teeth, arranged in a ring. And one strange artifact placed at the center, a hollowed skull, not yet fossilized, but polished smooth from within. Still wet, it had grooves inside, fitting not an adult face, but a child's. And on the inner surface, there were no instructions, no symbols, just a single word, written in a language older than time, but somehow unmistakable. Your name. And the mask was missing.